So what do you really need to get started in triathlon? Well, I boiled it down to 9 essential items that every new triathlete needs. So stick around and I'll tell you all about it. So at this point, you're thinking that you might just want to try, but you don't want to go out and drop a ton of cash on a bunch of new equipment you may or may not end up using later down the road. Am I right? Now, although I can tell you from personal experience that once you start, it's pretty hard to stop, I'll humor you if that's what it takes to lure you in. I don't like to spend money on things that I'm not crazy about. So believe me when I say that I really put a lot of thought into whether or not you really need the items I'm about to show you. The best part is some of this stuff you might already have. So, 9 items right now, let's go. Number 1 on the list is the number 1 most important piece of equipment that you need to have: a helmet. And it doesn't have to be fancy. I know when you see some of the videos of the more experienced athletes, they've all got crazy looking helmets that look like fins on their heads. Please don't go out and buy one of those. You don't need one at this point. And honestly, unless you get really serious, you may never see the need for one at all. Now, if you already have a quality helmet, the best one for you is the one you've already got. But if you're on the market for a new one, keep it simple. You can't go wrong with something like this Giro helmet that I've got. Giro is a very trusted brand, and I've had this one for years. I mean, you can see it's kind of taken a beating. I found one a lot like it on Amazon for $60 that actually has newer safety technology called MIPS or MIPS, so I'm actually considering grabbing a new one for myself. The second most important item is a pair of shoes specifically meant for running. If you're gonna splurge somewhere, do it here. Because if there's one area you're most likely to get injured in, it's running. And having a good pair of shoes, or a couple if you can swing it, is your number 1 defense. Now there are a million brands out there, so your best bet is to go into a store that specializes in running shoes and have them analyze your gait so that they can recommend the best shoe for how you run. The first pair of running shoes that I ever really enjoyed running in was the Hoka Clifton. Now, they do look a little like geriatric grandma shoes with that huge sole on the bottom, but that's because of the beautiful amount of cushioning they provide. I feel like when you first start running, you tend to bounce up and down a whole lot more than forward, so that cushion helps protect your joints from all of that constant pounding. My current favorite shoes are these, the Nike Zoom Fly, although this particular version has been discontinued, but there is a newer version. I find them so incredibly light and also springy. I can also slip these on in transition without lacing them or needing bungee laces because they are so stretchy, but my feet feel totally secure, and that was an issue that I thought I might have. I have run faster in these shoes than any other pair I have ever tried. And maybe it's coincidence, but it was noticeable enough for me to buy a second pair. Number 3 is goggles. You need to be able to see where you're going. And even in nasty lake water where you can't see a foot ahead of you, it's still really disorienting to swim with your eyes closed. So go out and grab yourself a pair if you don't have some already. You can find them for as cheap as $3 for a Swedish goggle like these. The goggles I swim in for all of my iron distance races were these Tyr Blackhawks, and I think they're fabulous. You can pick them up on Amazon for as cheap as $15 in a bunch of different colors and lens styles. And then, if you want to treat yourself, check these out. These Magic 5 goggles are the new love of my life. They literally scan your face with their app and mold these specifically to fit you. Are they necessary? No. Are they swanky and will they make you swoon with the enjoyment of not having to smash goggles onto your face to keep water out? Absolutely. They are a bit more expensive though and will cost you around $65. So in the meantime, you can check out Triathlete Magazine's gear page if you ever want some great reviews. I'll link up their list of 2020 open water swim goggles down below, and those will work perfectly fine in the pool too. They'll just have a mirrored or tinted finish like sunglasses, but shouldn't be so dark that you can't see inside when you're swimming too. Number 4 is going to be some kind of bike. It can be a road bike, a mountain bike, a hybrid bike, Just something to get you started, and may I suggest that it has at least a few gears unless you're just really great on hills. Also, make sure that you have at least one bottle cage so that you can carry water with you. The bike is by far the most expensive piece of equipment you'll buy. So see if you can borrow one from a friend, or some training programs like the Play Try Race Ready program will let you actually rent a bike for super cheap while you're training with them. So it might be worth checking around your area to see if there are any rental opportunities near you. If you're just itching to get a bike, might I suggest that you do not start with a tri bike. A road bike is much more versatile, less of a learning curve to learn to ride, and some cycling groups flat out won't allow you to join on a tri bike for safety reasons because it's more difficult to handle and brake when you're coming to a stop. Plus, they make aero bars that you can attach to your bike's handlebars if you want to get into that low aerodynamic position. Not quite a tri bike, but a great solution if you're wanting to get more serious but don't want to purchase another bike. A lot of bike shops sell used bikes too. So if you're not a bike aficionado, I would recommend going that route if you want to buy used, because they should make sure that the bike is in good condition, and they can also make sure that it's a good size and fit for you as well. Number 5, a flat kit to go with that bike. Possibly one of the least flashy items on the list, but having a flat kit is just as important as having a spare tire for your car. Inside this flat kit, you should have levers for getting your tire off of the rim, an extra tube or two if you've got some space for an extra, some CO2 canisters so that you can air the tire back up, a little nozzle that goes on the end to fill the tire. And if you'd like me to make a video on how to change a tire, even if you have hands the size of a 9-year-old, write "fix a flat" down in the comments and I will make that happen for you. Tri shorts are just like bike shorts, only the pad is much smaller, so you can run in them easily and so they don't suck up a ton of water during the swim like a sponge. Although they're not as cushy, I'm telling you to go for tri shorts because you can race in them as well as train. Pair them up with a compression top and you've got yourself a makeshift triathlon kit for racing. If you have the option to get a pair of bike shorts as well, I would go for it. It's good to have 2 pairs anyway, so you're not having to do laundry all the time. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of you might be thinking that you don't need bike shorts. And to you, I say go for it. But when you're walking around like Yosemite Sam with a severe case of diaper rash, don't say I didn't warn you. Next, you're going to need something to time and track your workouts with. I like to use my watch, but back before I had one, I used my phone. And there are all kinds of great apps that are really useful for training. And I talk all about them in this video. I'll link up top if you want to check them out. Strava is a great one for timing and tracking your bike and run training. It will show you your pace, distance, and time, and it will also give you a map of your route to look at later. And in case you're interested, my watch is the Garmin 920 XT, which is discontinued, but you can still find them used online for around $250. If you want the new version, it will cost you around $600. So the phone is probably your new best friend until you get really hooked. Number 8 is something to swim in. Guys, I suggest something form-fitting like jammers, unless you're really confident, in which case the cool kids like to wear fun Speedos like these. Ladies, whatever you have is probably good enough for now as long as it's form-fitting. So no ruffles or blousey, tankini kind of things. And make sure that it's supportive enough for activity too, and probably not too revealing. Speaking of, I personally have no interest in showing anything off at the pool, so I like to wear this Dolphin Aquatard. I love it because the compression is great, and I treat it like crap, and it has lasted forever. And for another quick race outfit, you can throw a pair of tri-shorts over your bathing suit, or if you're wearing separates, you can swap them out for your bottoms too. Just make sure that the top is really supportive, or you'll regret it come the run. And we've made it to number 9. You need a way to carry your important stuff around while you're training. So I use a pouch like this one to carry around my phone and other items, even on the bike, without needing a jersey. And I know that a lot of people like to carry their water in the back pocket of their jersey. But that's why I actually mentioned a bottle cage when I talked about the bike before, because in the beginning, you're probably not going to be riding far enough to need more than one water bottle, nor are you likely to want to take your hands off the bike and reach around to grab your water bottle if you're new to biking. And I love this one because it's cheap. Are you noticing a theme here? And it's highly water resistant. It's also reflective, has a built-in LED light for after dark safety, and it's super bright, recharges really fast, and I can fit my iPhone, my keys, and my ID in there. So is there anything here that surprised you? Anything you would add? Are you gonna get started now that you know that you don't have to go to the tri shop and buy everything in there to be a successful triathlete? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're liking the content I've been putting out so far, give me a like. It really helps and it lets other people like you find my videos a little bit easier. Speaking of which, if you know someone who would benefit from watching, make sure to share. I'm dedicated to putting out new content every week made specifically with new and beginner triathletes in mind. So hit that subscribe button so you won't miss an episode. That's all I've got for you today, so check back next week and I will see you then.